This is a sombre, and for me, a surreal Crimewatch UK. For all of us here, it can be grueling coping with crimes against victims who are strangers. It's been almost unbearable dealing with Jill's death. Jill Dando was much more than a colleague. She was everyone's friend. Crimewatch is poorer without her. But this programme was her passion. And now, as Jill helped others, we hope we can do the same for her family, and for her fiancé, Alan.
A senior police officer arrived at my work to tell me that a lady of Jill's description had been attacked on Jill's doorstep and had been rushed to Charing Cross Hospital and had subsequently died from her injuries.
We've had to look at everything. We've had to look at it in the complete 360 degrees at all sorts of things that were happening. But we've been looking at facts and we've been looking at evidence. And one of the first pieces of information and real facts are when the postman was delivering mail to Jill Dando's house, number 29 Gowan Avenue.
I was delivering mail along the odd numbers till I reached 29, which I know is Jill Dando's house. I've met Jill a few times, either delivering her mail or passing her in the street. I took a couple of paces down the front garden path, and just before I reached the front garden gate, I saw a man standing in the road looking directly at number 29. It was like he thought someone was going to receive the mail.
I was looking for illegally parked cars on both sides of the road, and I noticed a Range Rover facing the Fulham Palace Road. I started to type the registration number in, and suddenly I noticed this man that was sitting in the driver's seat. And I was quite sort of startled and a bit embarrassed, so I just walked off towards Munster Road.
And at about the same time, a driver saw another man, and he was near the other end of Gowan Avenue.
I was coming out of Bishop's Road and wanted to turn right and immediate left to cross Munster Road into Gowan Avenue, and he was outside the glazier's shop. And as I went, he crossed. He kept looking up and down the road. I thought maybe he was looking for the road name. He was looking up.
If you were in Gowan Avenue on that day, now is the time to come forward and tell us.
Getting towards the end of Gowan Avenue on the Fulham Palace Road end, I was conscious that somebody was sitting on my tail, as it were, was hurrying me. I had got the impression there was more than one person. There was a couple of people in the car. I was feeling very pressured by the car behind. I could hear it revving.
And if that was you, and you were in a hurry in your Range Rover, we do want to hear from you to eliminate you from the inquiry.
I went straight up Dunrayleigh Road, dead opposite Gowan, and turned right at the end to come out by Fulham Football Club, and I felt sort of pressured into going faster than I wanted to. I sort of looked over my shoulder and saw the Range Rover parking sort of opposite Fulham Football Club.
It is important to eliminate this vehicle. There were several sightings of a blue Range Rover, dark blue Range Rover. Were you parked up in the Fulham Football Club or driving around that area on the 26th of April? We would like to know. We need to know if you were there. Next is a window cleaner, and he was opposite Jill's house. And he saw a man, again, wandering around outside number 29. The window cleaner thought he was an estate agent. He was carrying a mobile phone and was talking into the mobile phone. He described him as having blonde hair, with smart in appearance, wearing a suit. Almost all the witnesses talk of a man in a suit with dark hair or black hair. So this man, the window cleaner, sees someone with blonde hair. Now, he may be someone completely innocent, or is he the person that we're looking for? Another sighting of yet another dark blue Range Rover is around about 11 o'clock. A man is driving again in Gowan Avenue, but going the other way. He had noticed a man in Gowan Avenue, standing between two parked cars, just standing there. As he approaches Gowan Avenue, Munster Road, and he turns left, parked right on the corner there, but also on the curb, is a dark blue Range Rover. There's nobody in it.
I'd better go. I don't want to get a ticket. Right. Love to go in. Bye.
I was weighing up whether to go home or to Sally Parsons' shop on Fulham Road. I was thinking quite hard about it, and as I sat there was a man about one car length away. He had noticeable dark hair and a blue suit, and he didn't seem uncomfortable or uneasy. I was thinking of my dilemma at the time, but I was somehow dimly aware that he might have been an estate agent.
I saw a man standing on the corner of Gowan Avenue, just very, very agitated. And the one thing that I couldn't help but keep looking at was like the glasses he had on his face. They didn't seem to fit.
I think it is always difficult for anybody to cope if they don't know why something has happened. This is a situation which defies all logic, is totally impossible to explain, and therefore totally impossible to understand at this moment in time. Even an explanation will not change the situation and will probably not change the fact that I don't understand what has happened or why it has happened.
I heard a scream. I looked out the window and saw a character walk away, and also saw a chap coming out of number 30.
I came out of the front door and I saw this man running down the street, and he immediately alerted my attention because he was furtive. He was up to no good. I could tell it at once.
What we found is 4 witnesses who see a man or different men running down the Fulham Palace Road towards Putney. And the first witness is somebody who had been to the betting shop. About 11:37, 11:38, he saw a man running across the Fulham Palace Road from the Gowan Avenue side, and a car nearly knocked him down. And the man saw him run to the west side of Fulham Palace Road and start to run down Fulham Palace Road. Another lady saw a man running down the Bishop's Park side of Fulham Palace Road, carrying a mobile phone and talking into the mobile phone, and she found that very odd. Is that the same man who had just run over the pedestrian crossing? Further down the Fulham Palace Road, a few minutes later, a lady is driving a truck north and sees a man, as she describes, running for all his life, wearing a suit, dark hair, south towards Putney. He was carrying a mobile phone. At roughly the same time, a van driver is going towards Putney in the Fulham Palace Road, and a man ran out in front of him, and the van driver had to brake heavily to avoid hitting him.
Stupid idiot!
That witness saw the man run across the Fulham Palace Road and into Bishop's Park. So there are 4 witnesses seeing a man running almost the full length of Fulham Palace Road, crossing the road and going into the park. What we do know of the man in Gowan Avenue is that he was wearing a dark, waxy, barber-type jacket, thigh length. Certainly the man running in Fulham Palace Road was not wearing a jacket or coat. So we can't be sure that the man in Fulham Palace Road is the one in Gowan Avenue, but perhaps he was a lookout. Perhaps he was a man standing at the end of Gowan Avenue, and then following the shooting, he has run away down the Fulham Palace Road separately. At around the time that he saw him run into Bishop's Park, there are a number of witnesses who saw a man in the park, by the railings by the river, acting suspiciously and oddly. Is he the same man as who ran across the Fulham Palace Road? We're not sure. But certainly there was a woman in the park, and she saw a man leaning over the railings, talking on a mobile phone. And he was talking in a suspicious manner, and when she came by, he quietened his voice and was concerned of her presence. That man in particular had dark hair, but he was described as wearing a grey or dark coat, which was long thigh coat. That could be the same man who was seen running from Gowan Avenue, because the coat in particular is very similar. One of the witnesses saw a man climbing over the railings and onto the steps which lead down to the river. Who is that man? The witness does describe that man as wearing a royal blue wind cheater coat. Now that's certainly not the description of the man who was seen running from Gowan Avenue, which was a dark, waxy, barber type coat. So there is a possibility, strong possibility, that man has nothing to do with this inquiry, and if that is the case, if he came forward, we could eliminate him very quickly. And finally, there is a crucial witness at the bus stop in the Fulham Palace Road, opposite Bishop's Park.
He just caught my attention, I don't know why. And then as he got closer, I could see he was sweating on his face as if he'd been running. You get these impressions, you know what I mean? I mean, I wouldn't even throw my orange peel on the floor because he gave me that impression that he was a policeman. And I thought, if I throw it on the floor, he's going to tell me, right, pick that up, you know. All his collar was all wet, like he'd been sweating. He was about 5'9", 5'10". He had a slightly foreign-looking nose. He had a mark on his nose bridge, as if he wore glasses. I was left at the bus stop with this man, the woman with the 2 children, and somebody, I think it was another girl, who was just walking up towards the bus stop when it actually got there, 2:20. And he never got on the 74. 2:20 came. I let the young lady with the 2 children get on there because she was like at the end of her tether because the kids were being really bad. As I let them on, I looked at him. There was no response from him. I got on the bus and we left him at the 2:20 bus stop.
The bus driver's records show that 4 people got onto that bus at the time the man who answers the EFIC was on. One of them was an elderly lady. One of them was a young man, 18, 19 years old. The bus driver can't remember the third person. So there are definitely 3 other people who can come forward with information concerning this man.
Putney Bridge Station.
We'd be interested to know what he was talking about. Did anybody hear part of that conversation? Was anybody annoyed by the phone ringing and someone suddenly start talking on the bus? Were you on that 74 bus? We would like to hear from you. All 4 passengers got off. Where did he go from there? At this stage, we don't know. We've examined CCTV footage from the Putney Bridge railway station. He can't be found on there at this time. Did he go in a taxi? Did he go in a car? Did a car come along and pick him up? Or did he walk away over Putney Bridge or down back into the Fulham Road? Did anybody see him? We would like to know.
Everybody associated with Jill in any way whatsoever finds it totally unbelievable that the tables are turned like this and we are actually in this absurd situation making an appeal on her behalf. The horrifying fact is that somebody has murdered the person that I had planned to spend the rest of my life with. Somebody has murdered a person who was so widely loved and respected by everybody she came across. It's impossible to comprehend that one is the victim of crime. Jill is the victim of crime, and we are all the victims of that crime by virtue of the fact that we are horrendously affected by what has happened.
Hamish Campbell, let's see how viewers can really help solve this. There are just so many sightings for so many people there. They can't all be involved in Jill's murder. Why haven't they come forward to be eliminated?
I think a lot of them believe that they've got nothing to contribute, that they were there innocently, and therefore why should they come forward? But what I'm saying is it's essential they come forward because they help us determine the motive. Was there just one person involved in this killing or more than one? And as soon as everybody who was in that street comes forward, we can eliminate them and move the inquiry on.
Hamish, supposing they have reasons for not wanting to come forward, they're concerned about their anonymity. I'm thinking particularly, for example, of Range Rover drivers. And we know there must have been dozens of Range Rovers in that area at that time.
Yes.
We know the press has pointed out one of them was driving very badly. I mean, if I was that driver, would be reluctant to come forward. I'd fear a prosecution apart from anything else.
I can understand that, but there's no concern in relation to traffic offences or minor matters. The concern here is the murder of Jill Dando. So if they've been involved in minor traffic matters, forget that. Ring us, tell us where you were on that day, which Range Rover you were driving, and where you were.
That's a guarantee of immunity.
Absolutely.
And you want all Range Rovers in Fulham Monday the 26th of April in that morning.
Yes.
Now, it's pretty clear from that reconstruction that the guy running down Fulham Palace Road was one person. I mean, all the witness statements seem to converge on that one description. And yet that description is different from the gunman. So the e-fit that you've issued, the man at the bus stop in Fulham Palace Road, may very well not be the killer.
That is possible. And certainly the man in the Fulham Palace Road was not wearing a coat, whereas the man in Gowan Avenue was. So there's a strong indication that they are two different people. The e-fit is of the man at the bus stop. People need to focus on that for who is that man. Is he the lookout? Was he another party to the killing? But our key concern is the man in Gowan Avenue.
But can we just stay with that man at the bus stop first?
Yes.
It is possible he was running down Fulham. People run down roads every now and then for entirely innocent reasons without having shot someone. It is possible he is watching and recognises himself.
Yes.
If he comes forward, he's going to have a hell of a time, isn't he?
Not at all, but if he comes forward and he has nothing to do with that incident, then we can speak to him and eliminate him. He might have been late for an appointment, late for a bus, or whatever. As long as he comes forward and we can push the inquiry on.
Again, can you guarantee him anonymity?
Yes.
Now, you've always maintained this the most difficult sort of inquiry for detectives, what do you call a 360-degree inquiry.
Yes.
Let's try and focus it so that people can help. On the one hand, there's the possibility it's a conspiracy involving several people.
Yes.
And on the other, there's the prospect that it's just one person. Let's just take the criminal conspiracy idea first. Again, how can people help now, viewers of Crimewatch?
It's important to remember that there's a large and substantial reward in this case. There's £100,000 from the Daily Mail. There's £50,000 from Crime Stoppers, where people can ring up anonymously and give us information. People need to ask themselves, as we have done, who has gained from this murder after 21 days?
What do you mean, who's gained?
Has someone gained financially? Has someone received money recently? Has somebody benefited in some way? Whether it's financial or emotional, there's a reason why Jill Dando was murdered, and people need to look now. Who has gained? What benefit has been achieved by this death? And come forward with any information. The reward money is there, it's substantial, and people need to think very, very hard tonight on what that is.
Of course, one line to that reward, and one line the criminal fraternity can help with, is to trace the murder weapon.
Yes.
Now, of course, guns can be acquired abroad. We all know that. But assuming, we can't make that assumption, but let's for the moment make it, that this gun was acquired in the United Kingdom.
Yes.
How would whoever mediated that sale recognise the weapon?
Well, there are two guns here this evening. And what we're saying is, this gun here, the 9mm Browning, the larger firearm, is not the weapon that was involved in the killing of Jill Dando.
Right, that's one that lots of newspapers and so forth have been portraying. It's not that.
Yes, it is this type of firearm. This is a 9mm short. Not only is the bullet shorter, but the whole weapon is smaller. It can be held in your palm of your hand, can be concealed in a pocket. People need to look now at this weapon. Have they recently handled this gun? Have they recently passed it on to somebody else? Have they disposed of it for somebody? Did they make arrangements before Monday the 26th of April to give this type of gun to somebody? There is the reward money. People need to look at this firearm and ring us tonight.
Much less common than the bigger weapons.
Considerably less common.
When these weapons are sold illegally, they're usually sold with ammunition. What sort of ammunition was used to shoot?
The ammunition that was used to shoot Jill Dando was 9mm short Remington manufacture. There was no suggestion that it was a dum-dum bullet. There's no suggestion that this firearm was fitted with a silencer.
So if somebody was involved in that sale, you're saying they can ring Crime Stoppers anonymously?
Yes. Tell
us the procedure about that. Supposing someone says, look, I want to get that £150,000 reward, but I'm not prepared to take the risk of prosecution for firearms offences.
If they ring Crime Stoppers and they've got real information to give us concerning this firearm or anything else, they will be given a security number, and it's that security number which will identify them with Crime Stoppers, not the police, and the information can be passed to them, which in turn will be given to us.
Now, we've been looking at the criminal conspiracy. Supposing it is just a loner,
yes.
Then again, how can people watching this programme help identify that now?
If it is a loner, I mean, it could explain the apparent motivelessness of the crime, but maybe this person has a fixation or a strong fascination with Jill Dando. Maybe he's displayed that in some way with collection of photographs, constant talking. I'm not sure, but people need to look again to their partners or others. Was he concerned or fascinated by Jill Dando? What was he doing on Monday the 26th of April? Was he late for work? Did he not turn up for work? Was there some features of his behaviour which was different on that day?
Well, it's a free call number here, 0500 600 600. Please call if you can identify any of those people that have to be eliminated, and please let us know if you've any suspicions about an individual who may have done this. There are many more detectives standing by the incident room at Kensington. The number there is 0181 246 0732, 0181 246 0732. And let me repeat, as if it needed saying, that total reward is £150,000. Please, though, could I ask you, don't ring on the numbers I've just given you for condolences for Jill. We really need these lines open for the clues for our appeals tonight.
My first case tonight isn't a major crime, to be honest, but it is so mean that I think everyone in the community will want to help us. This is the man we're after, a bully who's rifling through someone's valued possessions at Mornington Crescent Underground Station in North London. Among the things he took was a Burt Lancaster video, King of Kings. This is how it happened. After hanging about for a while, he spies this man, who's autistic and obviously very vulnerable. The man threatens to stab and shoot his victim, causing such panic that he can now no longer go out on his own. Please tell us who this is. He's 5'6" to 5'8", in his 20s, with a large nose and a scar by his left eye. 0500 600 600 here to the studio, or you can call the British Transport Police direct on 0171 387 0354. That's 0171 387 0354.
I've got some more video of another unpleasant robbery, this time in Sussex. This is an off-licence in Eastbourne on Easter Monday. Can you tell us who this is in the woolly hat with Tottenham written across it? First, he attacks a female member of staff and then punches a man who comes to her aid. He and his accomplice grab some cash out of the till. Who is he? He's medium height but stocky, mid-20s, and his sweatshirt says Howard's. Maybe it's the name of a Keep Fit place. Anyway, 0500 600 600 here, or the Eastbourne Incident Room on 0845 607 0999. That's 0845 607 0999.
In September last year, we reconstructed two rapes committed 6 years apart, the first in Brentwood, Essex, the other in Bermondsey, southeast London. A man who was watching Crimewatch became obviously agitated, and later, when asked to give a DNA sample, he persuaded a friend to go in his place. The switch was spotted by detectives, who then arrested the original suspect. On Friday, Anthony John Chandler pleaded guilty to 3 counts of rape and to perverting the course of justice. He's due to be sentenced next month. 15 arrests since last month's Crimewatch, including one on the double murder in Norfolk we reconstructed back in March. Janice and Connie Sheridan were found dead in their home in the Fens. Crimewatch viewers provided what Detective Inspector Paul Chapman called a tremendous response. But it was the investigation team's own attention to detail that started a new line of inquiry. Kevin William Cottrell, a 33-year-old salesman from Swaffham, has now been charged with 2 counts of murder.
Belgrave Road in Leicester is known as the Golden Mile. Dozens of Asian goldsmiths have congregated there, and people travel to shop there from all over the UK. About a month ago, one Thursday afternoon, one of the family businesses was robbed.
22nd of April.
We opened between, say, 10:30 and 11 o'clock, from Monday to Saturday. We sell mainly Asian 22-carat jewellery and a few diamond rings, and we do a lot to order as well, some specific designs customers want, from chains to bangles, bracelets, rings, earrings. In the back of the shop, there's several machines that we use to put the gold through, which makes it into different shapes. There's a polishing machine, there's a milling machine, and there's a gasifier. You can't live near the telephone sometimes. a bit like a fairground, really, and instead of people shouting, it's just like different machines all the time. I was actually making a bangle for a customer that somebody ordered. And I was soldering it in, putting the gas on the fire and making it into shape.
It's unusual to see 5 men in a car on a weekday afternoon. But that Thursday, a blue Vauxhall Belmont arrived in Leicester from Wolverhampton, perhaps with 5 men in it. We know for certain it came from Wolverhampton because it had been stolen there the night before.
When I saw the first man coming, I opened the door for him. I thought he was a customer.
Was there anything special you wanted to look at?
Yes. I'd like to have a look at your bracelets and rings, please.
Over here, we have a good selection, even if I say so myself.
He was wearing tinted sunglasses and Indian bracelets, white trainers, and is about 6 foot.
He seemed about 26 or 27 years old, and the jeweller also noticed he had a mole on his left cheek.
I don't know whether it's yes, gas or what. It was so terrible. So I just fainted.
As the car sped off, the driver was seen to have a goatee beard. The car made off towards the city centre. A few seconds later, the Vauxhall turned off into Abbey Park. It's now around 3 p.m. on Thursday the 22nd of April. Did you see anyone switch cars here? The stolen Vauxhall was abandoned.
You just feel terrified, you're just in a state of panic as well. You don't know what to do first, whether to call the police or whether to go and look for your dad or chase them, or whether it's worth it, or you just don't know what to do. You're in a state of shock.
Tony, the Wolverhampton link, the car was stolen from there. You think there's another reason to link Wolverhampton?
Yes, a few days ago there was a very similar robbery in Wolverhampton, a few days before this offence, which involved a group of Asian males on another Asian jewellery shop, and again CS spray was used to steal Asian jewellery.
Now, you don't know where the gang went, whether they went back to Wolverhampton or wherever. The last sightings in Abbey Park, where they dumped the Vauxhall, no one seemed to have seen that.
Yeah, that's right. They left the vehicle there. What we don't know is whether they got into another getaway vehicle or whether they made off on foot.
Now, assuming we might get some people who witnessed that, what about the actual people themselves? We saw the driver of that car, this goatee beard. One of the others apparently has very distinctive eyes.
Yes, that's right. One of the men that was wearing a balaclava had distinctive green eyes. What we don't know, were they contact lenses or were these natural?
And the guy that came into the shop, first of all, good description of him. He's 6 foot tall. What else can you tell us about him?
Yeah, he was wearing a Punjabi suit and he had a distinctive mole on his left cheek.
Yeah. And his accent?
He spoke with an undistinguishable middle-class accent.
Okay. Now,
Some of them spoke some Hindi as well.
Yes, the word shallow was used, which means let's go, let's go.
Okay. Now, these sort of things that they stole, interestingly, they didn't take ones which had diamonds in them, so perhaps they're going to melt them down. If they're not melting them down, how could anybody who's offered this know it comes from the robbery?
Well, there is a distinctive initials on the inside of these bangles, JPD, which is the jeweller's initials.
Okay, well, if you're offered any of these with those initials JPD, if you've got any rumours, heard anything about these 5, perhaps there were fewer on the first robbery, anything on the grapevine at all about the gang, or have any ideas who this could be, or if you can link any of them to Wolverhampton, give us a call. 0500 600 600, or call the Leicestershire Police on 0116 248 4974. That's Leicester, 248 4974.
David and I are each looking for people who've quite separately gone missing, and we now fear both have been murdered. First, I want to reach all possible friends and acquaintances of Wendy Upton. Wendy, who is from Lichfield in Staffordshire, left her home last October to go to a local supermarket, and her husband hasn't heard from her since. There seems no logical explanation other than that she's been a victim of crime. A man and a woman who plainly knew her have anonymously and quite independently tipped off the police with names. But 7 months on, detectives haven't enough evidence to charge anyone, and they badly want those friends of Wendy to call back. If you knew her or heard what happened to her, please ring 0500 600 600 or 01785 234 952. That's Stafford, 234 952.
The second missing person we're really worried about is a father from Warrington, Everton Binns. Here he is last Christmas with his family, but soon afterwards he vanished. He was last seen leaving a friend's home in Kirby on Merseyside, and we think something happened to him that night, Wednesday, the 20th of January. He didn't turn up at a family funeral the next day. He hasn't taken his money or his passport, and he was about to become a dad again. If you've any suspicions or have heard anything about him, please let us know on 0500 600 600 or the incident room in Kirby, that's on 0151 777 6588. That's Liverpool, 777 6588.
Last autumn, we asked for help to trace a drug smuggler based in Liverpool. A Crimewatch viewer called to say the man was on a train to London. As a result, he was traced and arrested. And last month, Mark Pimblett was convicted and sentenced to 7 years. And a reappeal from March. We now have a new image of a man whose body was found on the banks of the Thames in Deptford.
The story is that on Monday the 14th of December at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, a member of the public was walking along the Thames footpath. He noticed what he thought was some body parts on the foreshore. We attended and we recovered human remains, and from there onwards we've been trying to identify the victim.
We don't know what sort of hair he had, hence the variations. But do you recognise who this could be? Someone who disappeared sometime late last year. Mid-30s, 5'7", stocky, Mediterranean-looking, with exceptionally good teeth. If you've any ideas, please let us know. 0500 600 600. That's free call 0500 600 600.
Although we've increased the number of lines here in the studio from 40 to 60, there's an enormous volume coming in. The lines are almost jammed, but I think you can still get through at the moment. And a lot of people on the Jill Dando murder have been ringing in to name other people they think were in the area of Fulham on Monday, the 26th of April. We so far haven't got anybody who says that they identify themselves as one of the people that the police are trying to eliminate. Let me thank everybody who's been ringing in just now, and indeed, thank you to everybody who wrote to us or who emailed us about Jill Dando's death, a crime that touched us all here so deeply. We've had so many tributes, literally thousands. It's simply impossible to answer them individually. Please, though, tonight, only ring us if you've got information on the appeals that we've featured. Those calls we really need, not calls, please, for donations. If you want to give a donation, if you want to send condolences, addresses are on CFAX on page 621. Now next, events in Haverhill in Suffolk. Think back to the first week of January. We're showing what happened to a mother of 2, a woman who works days and sometimes nights, almost always outside office hours. On the Sunday after New Year's Eve, she just started her shift at work near Haverhill town centre.
I'm a part-time cleaner. And my husband does shift work, so he's like there to look after children when I'm out. I knew it was the dentist's alarm because I've actually heard it go off before. I always used to park my car in the dentist car park because it wasn't far from where I worked. I happened to see this person standing on the corner, and he just gave me an awful sort of like a glare, staring at me.
She went back to ring the owners, but there didn't seem to be a break-in.
I saw this fella standing there all in black, and I thought then, you know, what an evil looking thing he was. He was just like somebody really from a horror film, and that's about all you could say, you know.
Next day, next shift, Monday the 4th of January.
It was the way he was looking at me I didn't like, and the way he was suspicious standing behind the fence as well. I didn't know what his intentions really were, whether he wanted to hurt me. I just remember getting in my car, looking at it, and driving off as quick as I could.
I think I should tell the police.
Yeah, you should.
Gives me the creeps the way he's hanging about.
In the end, she didn't think it serious enough to go to the police. But before she started her next shift, she asked a friend to drive her round, just to check that the stranger wasn't there.
Slow down, here it is. No, I can't see him. Okay, Sal, let's go. It'll be all right.
5 minutes later, she came back in her own car to start her shift.
I thought, well, if he's not there, I must be okay. And if he was there, first thing I was going to do, my husband up and let him know. But seeing that he wasn't, I thought no more of it.
An hour later, now 9:20, she finished work and set off home.
Before I actually walked towards my car, I can remember actually looking around. I couldn't see nobody, so I thought, oh, I'm okay. As he grabbed me, I realised it was the same person. I remember saying to him, please, let me go.
But she was raped.
At first he was acting that I was his girlfriend. But when I refused to do things, he did raise his tone of his voice and got quite nasty towards me. This time he didn't have no hat on. You could see his hair, and it was quite short. His face had like horrible, like pot marks, and his bridge of his nose was like either it had been broken or he'd been hit there. His clothes smelt musty. I can remember seeing a gold ring on his finger.
After several minutes, she suddenly hit back.
Something inside me actually snapped, and I just lashed out with all my might I had to get away. I didn't even bother to look behind me to see if he was coming or not. I was just so scared, but I do remember scratching his face.
She ran straight to the nearest house. 5 days later, still in Haverhill, was this the same man, now with a scratch on his cheek?
You got a light?
I'm deaf, but I understood him by lip reading.
You got a light?
I don't smoke. I didn't like the look of him, so I tried to ignore him.
Can you give us a lift?
No, I'm busy. Then he asked me £5 for food. No, I don't know you.
I know you.
I just want him caught and be punished for what he's done to me. Where before, me and my husband had a good love life. It's like now we're having to start from scratch. He should be able to come up and give me a cuddle when he wants to, not just feel nervous about it. It's like we're having to get to learn to know each other again.
Stuart, I take it you've checked as far as you can. This is not a local man.
Yes, we've exhausted local inquiries, and we don't think him to be local at this present time.
What was he doing there? I mean, perhaps there for the Christmas holidays or what?
Yes, that's right. It's an important period for people to think about, end of the Christmas New Year period. He had some reason to be in Haverhill. Maybe it was casual work, maybe he's a transient worker just passing through in local cheap accommodation. He had some reason to be there, but we now think he's moved on.
Now, we must stress, we don't know if that second sighting 5 days after the rape was the same guy, but we've got a pretty good description of the man himself. Just take us through. I mean, he's distinctively tall for a start.
Yes, he is. He's described as a white man, 6'2", so it is quite tall. Described as muscular build, almost athletic. Short brown hair, brown eyes, and a very distinctive pitted complexion, almost as if he'd suffered badly from acne previously. And as the reconstruction indicated, he got a bad scratch on his face that the victim obviously inflicted.
And that musty smell on his clothes. Perhaps he'd been sleeping rough.
Yes,
or
that's right. He may well have been sleeping
bath
rough.
a lot. Accent? Did she detect an accent?
Possibly northern, but again, not sure. Possibly northern.
And he had something on his fingers.
Yes, he did. Yes, he had a black gold onyx inset, not dissimilar from that.
How did he arrive? How did he leave Haverhill? Any idea?
We don't know. What I am keen to do is to trace the driver of a red car seen leaving Crowland Road about 10 minutes after the attack. It's important that we trace this driver. The driver comes forward and we eliminate them.
Now, you've had an offender profile done. We've got to be careful about these because these are statistical correlations. They're not absolutely perfect, but tell us what they suggest.
Yes, there's two important points that I think that we can take from them. The first is that the man has probably got previous convictions, probably for property crime, possibly sexual offences. He's committed sexual offences previously. And secondly, that this man has been or continues to be in a long-term heterosexual relationship, but other women may find his characteristics unnerving.
What, he might have shown violence or something like that?
Yes, they may be uncomfortable in his presence.
OK, well, maybe you recognise something in that personality profile, maybe you recognise the EFIT, maybe you've seen the man, maybe you've suspicions about who he is. Please, don't hesitate if you have. 0500 600 600 or call the inquiry headquarters 01 284 774 131. That's Bury St Edmunds, 774 131.
This man is on the run. He's Arthur Sims, 5'10", late 40s, and very hefty at over 20 stone. He can change his appearance convincingly and sometimes grows a beard and dons a turban. There's a warrant for his arrest, but apart from that, at least 5 police forces have questions for him about substantial frauds. If you've seen him with or without his beard, 0500 600 600 or 0171 601 2222. That's 0171 601 2222.
As you'll know, a man has now been charged with last month's London nail bombs. But tonight you might be able to help with a crime that seems equally hard to fathom, this time in Morecambe in Lancashire. A year ago, a postman there got a parcel himself. Inside, 2 mousetraps and 2 blank cartridges that would have made quite a bang if they'd gone off. Then, 2 months ago, the postman's wife found a murderous booby-trap bomb attached to their back door. This oil container was part of it, and it was just good luck that the device failed to explode. The next day, this letter arrived at the postman's home, basically saying, "I've warned you once, now I'm going to kill you." Let's go through the clues. First, the box. Gold cardboard, 5 inches by 4 and only 1 inch deep. Next, this message on the inside of the box written in capitals. Then there's the oil container itself. It's a Vauxhall one, probably from a registered dealer. But what's the Vauxhall connection? And finally, the writing on the death threat, similar to that in the first device. Does it look familiar? The bomb itself may look crude, but was actually quite sophisticated. Who do you know who's been experimenting with anything that makes an explosion? This bomb wasn't a joke. It could have killed. If you've got a suspicion, 0500 600 600 here to the studio, DS Charlie Byrne, who's here with his colleagues, or you can ring the incident room direct in Morecambe on 01772 410 410. That's Preston 410 410.
Last summer, a mother of two, Julia Webb, was bludgeoned to death for no known reason as she walked the family dog in their village of Sandyway in Cheshire. Hundreds of viewers rang to offer help after a Crimewatch appeal last September, but her murder is still unsolved. Now, though, there's a £30,000 reward, and maybe some underworld or prison gossip will reveal the killer. And we promised to keep up the pressure on the murder of a schoolgirl earlier this year. Hannah de Turville was found dead on Horsenden Hill in northwest London, several miles from her home off the Harrow Road. A few weeks ago, someone called Crime Stoppers asking to speak to the officer in charge of the case face to face. He called twice, and plainly he has useful information. If that was you, or you know anything about Hannah, call us now, 0500 600 600.
The number's good for all our cases here to the studio, and please do persevere if you've been trying to get through tonight. In fact, there are lines free now, or you can call the incident rooms direct if you prefer. The numbers there are on CFAX on page 621. You can also email us at crimewatchuk at the BBC, or you can call Crime Stoppers anonymously, as we've been saying, 0800 555 111. If you've been a victim and would like to talk to someone, the number for victim support line is 0845 30 30 900. Next, the hunt for a killer in North London, though frankly this could have been a tragic accident. It's a hit and run. The motorcyclist involved may not have known how dreadful the outcome was, and tonight we're hoping he's going to have the decency, the courage to come forward, if only to say sorry. And we hope his friends and relatives will put pressure on him, or indeed will call in themselves. It happened 6 weeks ago on Fortis Green between East Finchley and Muswell Hill. And the victim was Maria Bassandri. She was 70 and had been a grandmother for just 6 days.
My daughter was born, my first daughter, and my mum's first grandchild. And my mum said to me that she'd never been so content in her life. On that afternoon, I don't think anything else was on her mind apart from my daughter. She was literally going to do what she really wanted to do, which was to get a little jumper which she had knitted, embroidered with the name of my daughter.
Tuesday afternoon in early April, and a would-be taxi driver was learning the route between Muswell Hill and East Finchley.
I was actually doing my knowledge, taking a few places, points of interest around the end of one of my runs. I was looking for the police station at the time when the bike went past me very fast. He was driving like a lunatic when he went past me.
Were you overtaken by a motorbike going fast down Fortis Green on Tuesday the 6th of April?
Paid more than me. She doesn't do anything. She's getting paid more. I know, didn't you know? No, I'm not coming out if she's coming. I haven't invited her. What are you going to wear? Go get an ambulance to Waker! Sandra, just go and get an ambulance!
The bike had thrown Maria 30 feet down the road. The rider seemed to have injured his right hand, and the machine had lost part of its fairing and its right mirror.
I received a call saying that Mum had been badly injured. It just felt like someone had torn your life up. You know, you're on a high, and such a high, and someone said, well, no, you're actually too happy now, and I'm going to knock you down, but really knock you down badly. I turned up at the scene. There was lots of police around, lots of people.
What about the rider?
I think he was wearing black, but I'm not sure.
Well, he was coming down at an incredible speed when he passed me up there, and I went to turn around in this road and I actually saw the woman lying down on the floor.
The police just said, the bike, it was a hit and run, and he didn't stop. It's funny, I didn't really feel any hatred. I just felt shock that someone could actually do that.
A few minutes later, an unmarked police car was heading up the Hornsey Road near Archway.
Large Honda motorcycle, damage bearing.
Hey, look, that's it. November Hotel receiving November Victor 5. That motorcycle, the red Honda, we've just seen it. It's travelling south in Hornsey Road in the direction of Seven Sisters.
Pam, I think it's an R-Reg.
Yeah, November Hotel, further to that, we think it's an R-Reg. We didn't get any further index, but we've just turned around and we're trying to go after it now.
The bike was heading south towards Seven Sisters and was quickly lost in traffic.
People asking you all the time, have the police got any more information? What's the latest? You know, that's tearing us apart. Someone's murdered your mum. That's how I feel. If the person comes forward, then at least the questions will no longer be there. And I will respect the person for that after this appeal.
This is a similar bike. It's a Honda Fireblade, and all 3,830 suspect models like this are going to be checked. Did you repair a red, white and black Fireblade last month? One with an unusual opaque black windscreen that had got broken in the smash. The mirror we know got knocked off as well. You would have seen it in the reconstruction. Or did you sell or replace this right-hand fairing, this streamlining? Did you know where the bike is now? And did you treat a man for damage to his right hand, perhaps? Indeed, possibly a broken bone. Help clear this up, please, sooner rather than later. The incident room is on 0181 246 9820. That's 0181 246 9820. Or, of course, you can call the studio here on 0500 600 600.
Some pictures for you now, starting with a man in a yellow shirt. He's having a day out shopping. This is at a bank in Sheffield. Unfortunately, the credit card he offered had been stolen, one of several that were taken in a series of thefts from a hotel in Peterborough. He's 6 foot tall, well-spoken, and if you're watching and know who he is, 0500 600 600 or 01733 563 232. That's Peterborough, 563 232.
11:30 p.m. on a Friday night 2 months ago, and this is Dartford Railway Station in Kent. Two young men, apparently out for trouble, launched a ferocious attack on another passenger in the ticket hall. The victim was punched and bitten. In fact, part of his ear was actually bitten off. These are his assailants, and I hate to think what one of them is removing from his mouth. These are fairly good pictures, so please tell us who these thugs are. The one in the front is 18 to 22, 5'11", medium build with short brown or blonde hair waxed forward. His friend is about 5'9", with longer wavy hair. He's said to look a bit like the footballer Steve McManaman. 0500 600 600, or you can call the British Transport Police direct on 0171 387 0354. That's 0171 387 0354.
We appealed last month after violence at a football match in Manchester, and calls from viewers have so far led to 6 arrests. Detectives were delighted, but they still need to identify this man. He was at Main Road on Saturday the 6th of February. Who is he? 0500 600 600.
An enormous number of calls on the reconstructions, a very interesting one on the Suffolk rate, but we'll give you those in a moment. We're back on air so quickly with update. Just very quickly, Jackie, what have you had in your cases so far?
Well, particularly the Mornington Crescent robbery, a lot of calls, several sightings in other tube stations like Tottenham Court Road and Finsbury Park. And a lot of names suggested, some from police officers, so there's obviously a lot to go on there.
David, what was yours?
Well, particularly on the Eastbourne robbery, Nick, we've had some suggestions on where that Howard T-shirt may have come from, and lots of names of local people, so it's looking very promising.
Good. As I say, we'll give other news as we can. We're back with update very, very briefly, very shortly indeed, in just about half an hour. David, thank you. Ever since Crimewatch started, we've closed by saying, don't have nightmares, do sleep well. And given Jill Dando's murder, you might think any reassurances sound hollow tonight. But the very fact her death provoked such a jolting shock speaks for itself. Jill's killing was almost unbelievable. And even though we here on the Crimewatch team have had such a bitter experience of crime ourselves now, it remains stubbornly true, even if it sounds incongruous. Her death was unprecedented, a one-off, and that crime rates in Britain are no longer rising, they are falling. It's not a perfect world, but it's not one to be frightened of either. So we say it tonight as we always have, and we mean it. Don't have nightmares, do sleep well. And what could be a better epitaph for Jill? It's lonely here without her.
Now, as always, of course, the key to Crimewatch is you. Without your observations, the programme wouldn't be as successful as it is. We rely on you to spot clues and recognise details that hopefully will lead to the criminals being caught. Instead of worrying about crime, can do something about it. In the next 45 minutes, you can affect the outcome of serious cases. Significantly, we're getting calls from people who have been frightened to call in before. Don't be frightened. As the officer in charge said, your information is vital. And please do help tonight. We must have at least 30, 40, even 50 calls coming in tonight. Many of them, as officers are telling me, come with new leads, calls from police officers, ex-police officers, and hopefully tonight there will be a real breakthrough in this case.